I'm an attorney. I've been licensed to practice. Well, I was licensed in New York in 2001. That's 18 years ago, and I was licensed in Texas in 2004. 15 years ago. Thank God. And I've been practicing law since that time. I'm a corporate attorney, but I do securities work mostly, which is if a company wants to go public and they want to raise funds in the with investors. And I was in private practice for about 7-8 years, and I've been with the federal government, the Securities and Exchange Commission for the past 9 years. Wow. Thank you. No, I'm not giving you my background for you to applaud. I'm giving you the background just so you have perspective on what I'm about to share. The reason I'm distinguishing between what I'm doing and what I'm about to share is what I'm going to talk about today is when you're trying to start your legal entity. It's very different from what I do on a day-to-day basis is when you've already established your business and you want to take it public, or you want to raise funds, with public investors essentially. So you've grown in assets and lots of different things. Of course, sometimes you may want to go to the public even if you don't have assets and you've not been operating for a long time. But anyway, I'm stalling because I'm trying to get the IT people to put the PowerPoint presentation up so that we can get this started. But, excuse me guys, decision you make in consultation with a legal and or tax attorney. So that's the disclaimer. The IT folks, do you have the PowerPoint presentation? It's coming? Okay. Can I wait 2 seconds? I think it's easier. I could keep talking, but okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep talking, and if we need to go back, we'll go back, and I'll show you. So the different business entities. Before I talk about how you incorporate or not incorporate, I'll just talk about the different entities that are available for you as a business person. The first is a sole proprietorship. We'll talk about that. The second is a for-profit corporation. Another one is a professional corporation. Another is professional association. Then another is the general partnership. Then there's the limited, okay, good. All right, so can we go to the disclaimer, the next slide? Okay, so that's what I shared when I did the disclaimer. Then let's go to the business entities, the next slide. Thank you. Okay, so the most commonly utilized corporate forms for profit business structure, and note that I'm saying profit because non-profit is a different entity entirely. The 501c3, you have to get the, tax exempt, all of that. We're talking about for-profit right now. In Texas so this is for Texas. If you go to another state, I want to say that business entities are state regulated. They are state entities, they're not federal entities. So, sole proprietorship, for-profit corporations, professional corporation, professional association, general partnership, limited partnership, limited liability partnership, and limited liability company. Those are options that are available to you. Now let's go to the next slide. And if you have any questions, please ask as we go along, but I want to kind of let us finish within 20 minutes. The sole proprietor is personally liable for all debts and liabilities of the business. So let me explain what I'm trying to get at here. Debts and liabilities. The reason why, if I, Folake Olagbero or Joko Tade Adeniyi or any of you will have businesses, we can do our business. I can do my business with my name and my social security number. Nobody is stopping me. And that would essentially be a sole proprietor, right? It means though that if the business runs into debt, I'm responsible. If it has profit, I get all the profit. If someone sues the business, if someone comes to my house or my shop and they fall, I'm responsible. If they don't like the product that I sold, I'm responsible. If they don't like the services
and they're upset and they file lawsuit, I'm responsible. The sole proprietor is responsible for every single thing. Profit, debt, liabilities, lawsuits, everything. You may get insurance to protect you, but you are responsible as a personal person, not as a separate legal entity. And this is very important for us to understand. This is the difference between sole proprietorship and most of the other business entities. So the advantage of being a sole proprietor is, one, for the taxes, and I'm not a tax attorney, so a lot of taxes are very complicated. I just want to give general overviews. For the taxes, it's a pass-through, meaning you're not going to pay double tax on your business and on your personal tax. You can actually deduct a lot of your expenses from your own, you're the same entity. It's you and your business together. So that's why some people prefer to be sole proprietors, and then they get insurance because they don't have to pay corporate tax and then personal tax and then employee payroll tax and then this, you don't have to do all of that. So a lot of times people pick sole proprietorship for tax reasons, but the downside is that you're liable for everything. So let's go to for-profit corporation. This is what we know as Inc. You see a business name, ABC Corporation Inc. This is kind of like the standard. The corporation is now a legal person with characteristics of limited liability, centralization of management, perpetual duration, and ease of transferability of ownership. What we have now is a separation between the person and the business. And the for-profit corporation is deemed to be its own person. It's actually a person. So if someone comes into that business and they fall and they sue, the business is responsible, not you. If they file a lawsuit on products and services, the business is responsible, not you. Why is that important? If the business has no money, the business has no money. If you have like $1 million in your account, nobody's coming after that in your business account. In your personal account or your assets, they only go after the business assets, right? So then, if you have to decide for yourself what works best, do you want to protect yourself personally, or do you want to have a separate entity that protects you, or do you want to merge both for tax reasons? All of this is decisions that you make after you've assessed your own personal needs, where your business is, where your personal needs are. Then the professional corporation. Can we go to the next slide, please? Essentially, if you're providing a service and you're not going to engage in production of goods, you're not going to be mining, you're not doing anything other than your own services, you can form a professional corporation. I didn't go into what that entails. It just means that you want to provide professional services to people, and this is different from the next one I'm going to talk about, the couple of professional entities that exist. But they offer, there's some nuances here for professional corporation that is separate for for-profit corporation, meaning that they're going to assume there's some negligence. Again, I don't want to get technical, but there's some negligence things that if you say this is industry practice for this service, you're not going to be liable for what industry practice is. So that's kind of like the advantage of going the professional route. Can we go to the next one? Professional association is formed for the purpose of providing professional services, and this is the one you will see a lot of lawyers and doctors do. It's called usually they do PLLC. It's professional, then you can have limited liability company behind it. So, and this, you can read it, I just didn't want to go through all the list of the professions. The professional association is limited to the list I have here. If you're not any of these people, you have to do the first one I talked about, the professional corporation. Do you understand? So, because again, there's some nuances here that I'm not discussing, but that will be related to people who are doctor of medicine, doctor of osteopathy, and all these different people. Can you... Hello, there's something blocking. Okay, anyway. So, the professional association, if you're a physician,
when I was in secondary school in Nigeria, I was head girl. So I need a head girl for this class. I nominated the last girl. You look like me. Come on over. Come on over. Come on over. So for me, I'm very happy to introduce everyone. And then we'll take it from there. Let me make sure that I have one. Please, everyone, would you show some love? Let's see makeup artist.
That's how the U.S. citizen. Why did I go into details? Because depending on what year you were born, depending on the
So in your hands, you are. So from there, I would, before I started, or by the time I started college, I would go to Harvin and buy small accessories and take them to colleges in different campuses, Arlington, Dallas, and sell whatever I had to others. So this entrepreneurial spirit has always been within me. And if you were here early in class, I shared how from the age of 6, I would take my mommy's shoes and go sell them to my teachers in primary school. So I know that in this room, there are people like that in this room. You can sell anything. As long as it is legal, right? You can sell. And then there's some people that you know there's something you want to do, but you're not quite sure how. So over the years, I've tried many different businesses. I've tried many I've made many different attempts. Some didn't work out. I won't say they failed. I would say they didn't work out. Some did not meet my expectations. But I will tell you though that it contributed to my knowledge and experience today of what to do, what not to do, how not to do. So I've gathered 5 key questions that I believe if I can help you answer them, you will be better off to making a decision as to what to do as you become an entrepreneur. So is everybody writing? Everybody writing? So question number 1, I know everybody does anybody want to know what is the number 1 item I need to start and become a successful entrepreneur? Does anybody know? Okay, real quickly. A why? Okay, you can tell the millennials, maybe start talking. Yes, go ahead.
An idea.
Idea, very good. One more, any other answer? Passion, very good. These are fantastic answers, but they are not correct. They are not correct. Let me tell you, there are many people that have great ideas, okay? Many people have fantastic passion. Many people have their why. This is why I want to do something. But that's not really what you need to become a successful entrepreneur. Do you want to know what you need? I'm sorry? What is it so much like? I want to write. Tell me exactly. So I have a few questions. Some people say, is it my idea? Is it pricing? Is it finance or money? Is it right staff for employees? No, it is not. So I want to leave one scripture with you today. This is one scripture that will change your life. And I need our head to read. 2 Chronicles 1, 11 through 12. Okay? 2 Chronicles, I need her to read in the New Living Translation. Yes, if you have your phone, pull it up. 2 Chronicles 1, chapter 1, 11 through 12. 2 Chronicles 1. Yes, pull it up, our head up. Memorize the scripture. This is the fundamental scripture you need as an entrepreneur. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you get the scripture, it will change your life. 2 Chronicles 1, 11 through 12. The background story. This is King Solomon, who has taken over the throne from his father, King David. And then he offers sacrifice. God shows up to him and God asks him, what do you want? Many of us know the story. We say, oh, he asked God for wisdom, right? All right, so head girl, are you ready? You have to read this like a child of God. All right, 11 and 12. All right, go for it.
Rehoboam strengthened the defense and stationed commanders.
Wait, did I give you? No, she's in 2 Chronicles 11. One. Chapter 1. Should we fire this out head girl?
No.
2 Chronicles, second. Just now. see this white generation, paper Bible. Anybody have Second Chronicles 1:11-12? God said to Solomon, thank you, ma'am. Say it one more time. Pull it up, pull it up, because I need it close by me. Go ahead, ma'am. Ma'am, please, would you mind rising for us, ma'am? Yes. But Mama, you're in King James. We want NLT. You have NLT, okay? Another mama has NLT. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
God
ma'am.
said to Solomon,
God said to Solomon,
because your greatest desire
is to do what?
help your people.
Is to do what?
Help.
Is to do what? Because your greatest desire is to do what? Okay, finish up, ma'am.
And you did not ask for wealth,
And you did not ask for wealth, riches, fame,
or even the death of your enemies,
or even the death of your enemies,
or a long life,
or a long life,
but rather
but rather
you ask for wisdom,
you ask for wisdom and knowledge to properly govern my people. To properly do what? Govern my people. Finish up, ma'am. 12, go ahead.
I will certainly give you
He said, because you have done this, I will certainly do what? Give you the what? The wisdom,
and
knowledge
knowledge
you requested, but
I will
I will
also
also give you
wealth,
wealth,
riches,
riches,
and
and
fame,
fame,
such as no other
king has had before you,
or will
or will
ever have.
ever have in the future. So, does anybody latch onto it now? What do you need as an entrepreneur? Help people. God, everybody, when you ask them, why did God bless Solomon? They'll say, because he asked for wisdom. That's not the correct answer. He asked for wisdom, but for what? To help people, to govern the people of God. And God said, because this is in your heart to do this, and this is what I will do for you. So if you gain, this is one secret many people don't know. So they say, I want to start Ankara business. Ankara, start it. But who is it helping? Who is it helping? Who is it helping? The number one item you need is to solve people's problems.
Every other Sunday, well, I'm not gonna say every other Sunday, like on Christmas.
Did anybody order anything from Amazon this
But
week?
you actually are
Do you order anything from Amazon? Anybody order from Amazon? Has anybody ordered anything online? Why did you order it online?
Let's say that easier
It saved you time. It was convenient. Are they solving your problems or they're not solving your problems? Does anybody use WhatsApp? Why do you use WhatsApp? So that you don't have to fly over the ocean to go say hello to grandma or to auntie or to somebody. Is it solving your problem or it's not solving your problem? Why do we use Facebook? Because we're able to connect. Yes. And if you notice, the more problems a corporation solve, the more valuable they are. The more problems corporations solve, or a business solves, or an entrepreneur solves, the more valuable. This WhatsApp guy wanted to solve the problem of communication with his family. And look at it today, it has blessed the whole world. So the more people you are able to help, the more you will become successful. So please, before you start your Ankara business, ask yourself the question, who is it helping? Write that down. Who is it helping? I don't care if it is an oil and gas business. This is the fundamental secret of truth you need. And it is right there in God's word. So who is my business idea helping? So we have so many people struggling in business. You are struggling because you're not solving problems. Now, you could also be struggling because you're not solving enough problems, okay? Or you are not in front of the people that need your solution. Does that make sense? Does that make sense what I'm saying? This is fundamental truth across any industry. So please, everyone, solve problems. Not your neighbor. Say, please solve problems. And if you don't take notes, you're going to leave here, nothing's going to change. For me as a person, my life has changed every time I have attended a conference like this and I have taken notes. It has helped me to know exactly what I ought to do.
Then the next one, let's go to the next slide, please. If you are going to have employees and you want to be a business entity, it is good to have the employee identification number. If you're a sole proprietor and you're going to be by yourself, you can use the social security number. But if you're going to have employees, you should have the EIN and the IRS requires businesses that have employees to apply for EIN number. So this is not going to be with the state of Texas or the county, it's going to be directly with the IRS. And when you apply online, IRS will give you the EIN number, and then you can open a bank account with that EIN number, and that's how you pay your employees and do all the things that you need to do for the business entity. Let's go to the next slide where about to be done.
It works like a waffler, right? There's a design like a chips oval, right? You can do that in your apple. You can do that in your any fruits. Carrots. Oh my God, the carrot is really good. All right. Now I've heard, because I'm actually enrolled now at the University of Cornell and taking my nutrition class. You don't buy anything that already is shredded. You know that, because those are not healthy. They actually put some powder and chemicals to make it look fresher. So it's really better for you to prepare and slice your own vegetables and fruits using our salad master machine. Okay. Now I'm going to show you cut number 2, so you don't have to buy shredded carrots. Okay. And if you like hash brown, cut number 2 is really good. Look at that. Can you see that? Yes. Okay. So that's like, and then when we do the entire presentation, we don't really have to actually peel all the vegetables. We're going to show you how to maximize nutrients, because that's where all the goodness is, right there in the fibers, right? So quickly, like what I said, okay, I think after this, do we have to do another presentation, or this is it? No, I think this is it. Okay, this is it. Okay, that's fine. So just to give you a quick background of what Salad Master is. Salad Master actually is the healthy cookware. Okay, it began in 1946. So we've been around for 73 years. We're about to celebrate our 75th anniversary, and it's founded by Harry Lemons. Okay. And the features and benefits of our cookware is that our cookware doesn't leach any chemicals. I don't know if you heard about the cookware that you have at home, Teflon, when it begins to scratch. What do you need to do with the cookware? You have to throw it away. You know that? Because it leaches chemicals that goes into your food are very, very harmful. You know what kind of diseases that you can get because of that? It's actually cancer, different kinds.
The deodorant that we are applying underneath our underarm, did you know that it goes through inside our body because it comes with the aluminum, and we eat with aluminum cookware. This one, it's just in the skin, but it goes through the lungs, it goes through the breast, that make people really sick. Okay, so I want you to really take care of yourself, but you have to make sure you see this in our presentation. Aside from the American Cancer Society, we are also partnered with the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, founded by Dr. Neil Barnard. These people are so focused in making sure people live better, look younger, and definitely number one, live longer. Okay, because we want to enjoy our children's children, right? Okay, on top of that, partnership with the Cancer Project as well. This October, we are trying to fight breast cancer as well. We are promoting it, and I'm actually practicing the plant-based diet right now because I'm in a class. But I just want to let you know that Salad Master has been partnered with all of these health organizations, and we want you to be a part of it. We want you to be involved. Another thing is, we have also social responsibility. We give away houses to people who are in need back in the Philippines. Not only in the Philippines, but we're also helping, in Africa, we've been donating a lot of cookware, stovetop, because a lot of them are using a lot of cookware that's actually very harmful to your health. And these are the things that we're doing. So we're not just really cooking here. We're cooking for a cure, and we're cooking for a cause as well. Okay? And moving on. Our mission of Salad Master is to inspire people to eat better, live better, and achieve the life that they desire. Actually, 11 years ago, I was also invited to see a dinner presentation. I was actually a nurse at the time in the nursing program, but now I'm no longer a nurse. Okay, I'm a full-time Salad Master representative because I believe that I can make a difference while people are not sick yet. I can still prevent illnesses, show people how to prepare a healthy meal at home, That's the most important thing. You need to make sure you cook more and eat more at home, because you want to know what kind of food are you bringing into your food. Okay, so we are ethical. We have actually different kinds of values and core in Salad Master. Number one, we are family. Okay, slide a little back. Okay, let's go back to the family. We are one global family. Salad Master is in over 53 countries right now. We build authentic relationships and has fun together. We always put others first. We help others fulfill their dreams and aspirations. So we are a family here. Okay, slide. And on top of that, we want to achieve excellence. We are committed to excellence. We go the extra mile to offer superior quality and service. We bring our very best every day to create a culture of excellence, and that is Salad Master. Okay, so we're also, when it comes to integrity, being in the business for like almost 75 years, that means credibility and integrity. We do the right thing always. Okay? We are recognized by the DBA and all that. We also have the passion. Our positive attitude is the strength of our character. We're listening in order to understand what matters most. And for us, what matters most is our health. The best time to take care of our health is while we are healthy. Okay? If you go to the Cancer Project and interview people who are already suffering from cancer diseases, you know, they can buy anything in the world as long as they can be able to prolong their life. You don't want to get there. The best time to take care of your health is now. Okay, so we're going to ask Ms. Kate to actually pass out, you know, this information, and we want you just to fill it out, and then someone will be calling you, because everybody deserves a free dinner, right? Okay, slide a little bit again. We have a business opportunity here as well. You know, my office is located at the Richmond Avenue by Beltway 8. You know, we are the warmest people in the entire instance, so we want you to come and visit us every Tuesday. If you're looking for a free dinner, we always offer buffet dinner. And we're going to give you the address later on. Okay, on top of that, our tagline is "We change lives." Salad Master changed my life. And we want you to keep an open mind. We have an opportunity here to change your lives as well. Okay, slide again. Now here's what Salad Master do. Opportunity is what we create, health is what we sell, and freedom is actually what we give back. Alright? And then, okay, so this is one of the most important things that I actually do right now. I conduct health and nutrition classes for free. This is my community service to give back something to the people. Okay? So if you decide that you want to see a nutrition class, we're going to bring in all the food again. And we're going to teach people how to prevent illnesses through increasing a lot of fibers into your diet. Okay? So we're going to keep this page. This is our company, Amazing Enterprise. And we're going to pass on to some information about cancer, our partnership with Solaria. And then we want you to also watch our brochure about our movement. We want you to be a part of our movement. So if you have seen how the Salad Master works, you've got to see a dinner presentation first, and then we will discuss with you on how you can earn this beautiful Salad Master machine. Okay? Isn't this beautiful? Alright? So all we need to do is fill that out. We're going to cook a dinner for you, from appetizer to the dessert. And then once you see the entire presentation, we're going to give you an opportunity to host for your friends and then get the Salad Master machine for free. So we're going to, can we serve the food now, Kate? Kate, can we serve food? Can we serve them food? Yeah. Okay, so we cook a veggie cake here. Okay, the vegetable cake is made of vegetables. You're not going to believe what kind of vegetables we put in there. Can you tell us, Karen, what are the vegetables we put in the cake?
I'm the one who made it. this, I put carrots, celery, red radish, red cabbage, the green cabbage, zucchini, yellow squash, and green apple and red apple.
Red apple and green apple. We made a cake out of those fruits and vegetables. So you're gonna eat this guilt-free. Plus, we have here a chow mein noodle. If you're gonna ask all the Asian people how they cook their chow mein, it takes forever to make it. But with our salad master cooking system, we only made it for 7 minutes. You've got to see how we make this. And we don't boil the noodles in the water. We just dump everything together. So we're gonna help everyone, we're gonna serve everyone so you guys will be able to taste the healthiest cake that we have in here that's made out of the vegetables and fruits. Okay. You guys, if you want to fill out some information, have you?
The better, and the higher the percentile is for the both of them, the better it is. All right, so ACT these days can take you to different places. These standardized testing scores, they can take you to many different places, and this is just the scale of where you can go. This is the lower end, and that's the higher end. You can see 1500 to like 1550s, the Harvard, the Rice, MIT, Brown, Yale, and on this other end, these are the Sam Houston, Prairie Views. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just for you to be strategic and figure if your ACT score is in this range, should you be applying to those schools? Be strategic and help your student figure out how to best apply to colleges, right? So look at the scores and sit down. Realistically, this is what we have, right? This is what your GPA is. This is what your SAT is. Do I want to spend money and time applying to a school that maybe my SAT wouldn't even get me in the door? No. So
Okay, can you wait and go back again? When you're done, please let me know.
And what I really want is, I want something flat. I don't want anything too bulky. You need like a flat brush to apply concealer on the eyelids. You can have something fuller for everything else, like maybe highlight, but for the brows you need it to be flat. Okay?
And this, you can read it. I just didn't.
And now I'm just going to gently go back
The
on one
professional
last ball.
association is limited to the list I have here. If you're not any of these people,
And drag it
you
down.
have to do the
Drag
first
it
one I
in.
talked about, the professional corporation. Do you understand? So, because again, there's some nuances here that I'm not discussing, but that
Okay.
will be related to
Drag it out and then just blend it downwards.
medicine, doctor
And I'm going to do the same thing
and
for the
all
top.
sorts of people.
Sometimes, many people prefer using foundation on the top.
Hello,
It's
there's
still
something
good, but
Anyway,
I prefer to use
so the
concealer.
professional association, if you're a physician or doctor of osteopathy, podiatry, dentist,
why
all
prefer
the
concealer?
list
Because
of
it holds it
veteran
longer than
and mental health
foundation.
professional, a lot of times you will see that this is an entity that most of them
So guys, we're almost
choose
wrapping up,
because
but I wanted to
it's
quickly show you how I
targeted
do
towards the industry.
this real quick.
So if you're one of those people,
You guys can ask me
consider
any questions
using
that
this
you
form
want to ask.
because it understands your industry, it takes into account all the things that happen in your industry. If you are a professional and you're providing services, but you're not listed here,
Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing for this one as well. So
Does
this
that make
way,
sense? Okay.
Can I ask, are you using concealer?
yes, I am.
So
I'll
this
tell
is
you
the
then
next
that
slide,
some
the
people
general
prefer to use
partnership.
foundation, but I prefer to use
So what
concealer.
were we talking, if you remember I talked about the sole proprietorship, I talked about
Underneath the eyebrows, because apparently if you don't use concealer underneath the eyebrows, it will hold the setting powder it takes longer. So if you use foundation, it might shift because of the oily composition of the foundation. But concealers have more creamy consistency. So with powder and cream, it stays and takes longer than the
between
foundation.
how you're going to distribute profits, how you're
Well,
going to distribute losses.
depending on what kind of eyeshadow you're going to use. If you're going to have to use something more natural, then it might work. But if you're not going to use something natural, then it's not going to work. I'd rather recommend concealer.
Then the limited partnership, let's go to the next one. It's limited again. Yes, so you can have an entity that is
of becoming a U.S. citizen. 4 ways mainly. The first one is if you're born in the United States. Of course, we all know that. If you're born here in any part of the United States, or you were born in the U.S. Virgin Islands, or in Guam, or in Puerto Rico, you are automatically a U.S. citizen. What if you weren't born in the United States? You could actually be a U.S. citizen by a process known as acquisition. It's not everybody who's born, some people are born outside the United States, but automatically they are U.S. citizens by operation of law. I'll give you an example. For instance, now, it would depend on a bunch of things. It depends on what year you were born, the circumstances of your parents when you were born, if maybe one of your parents was a U.S. citizen, or even, or maybe your grandparents or something like that. I'll give you an example. If a child was born, for example, after November 14, 1986, and one of the parents is a U.S. citizen, was a U.S. citizen at the time the child was born, and the parents were married at the time of birth, and the U.S. citizen parent was physically in the United States for a period of at least 5 years at the time of her life, the child's life, prior to the birth. 2 of those years were after the child was 14 years of age. That child automatically, even if the child was born in Oshodi, Lagos, Nigeria, that child automatically is a U.S. citizen. Why did I go into details? Because depending on what year you were born, depending on the circumstances of your parents, you could be a U.S. citizen even without being born in the U.S. Why am I even talking about this? There are so many people that I have met who probably came to consult with me. They had no clue they were U.S. citizens because they came here illegally and they've been hiding from immigration their entire lives. Now they get in trouble and they're about to be deported, and maybe they were probably charged or convicted of possession of cocaine, and of course they must be deported. And then I start asking them questions about their lives and who their parents were and who their grandparents were. And I found out, you know what though, you shouldn't even be in this process. You are an American citizen. How can I be an American citizen? I came here illegally. No, you are. And they get released, and that's it, and they get their citizenship. So you need to know, you need to talk to your attorney in case you think you're one of those. You can also be a U.S. citizen through the process known as derivation. So, for instance, when those of us who came here as immigrants, when you naturalize, if you have a child who is under 18 years old, that child automatically could be a U.S. citizen. If that child already has a green card, they don't have to wait 5 years. No, they don't. And I can tell you a lot of people have missed out on this. They become citizens, after they all become green card holders, they become citizens, or maybe and then they're waiting for their children to be 18 years old to file for citizenship, and they're waiting for this and they're waiting for that. I'm like, no, your child automatically, by operation of law, is a U.S. citizen. Just go to 1801 Smith, that's it. Go to 1801 Smith, go pick up your child's passport. And they're like, no, go pick it up. I'll pick up their certificate of citizenship. So please talk to your attorney if you're one of those, so that you'll be able to know if your child is a U.S. citizen. Then the most common one, which is the one a lot of us do, which is called the process of naturalization. This refers to a process where you naturalize as a U.S. citizen after you've been a green card holder for either 5 years, some people for 3 years, or you could actually qualify immediately as a U.S. As a member of the service, U.S. Armed Forces. This is the one that's common to a lot of us. First of all, you have to be a green card holder. If you're married to a U.S. citizen, that it's only 3 years after you become a green card holder, you can file for your citizenship. If you're not married to a U.S. citizen, you can file after 5 years. Or if you got your residency through your parents, your sibling, then you wait 5 years. Now, that is your pathway to citizenship. What about what comes before citizenship, which is when you become a legal permanent resident? Now, I'm going to rush through that very quickly. There are different ways to become a legal permanent resident. Now, when you come to the U.S., let me go back a little bit. When you come to the U.S., for the most part, you have to become a legal permanent resident first before you even go to the process of becoming a U.S. citizen. Now, there are 2 major ways of becoming getting your green card. Legal permanent residency is getting your green card. You can either get it in the process of court, when you have been put in deportation process. which is also known as the removal process, which happens, one, if you come here and you overstay your visa, if you commit a crime and you're not a US citizen, even if you're a green card holder, if you stay 1 day longer than your I-94 that they give you at the airport, you could be put in deportation process. A lot of people fall into this. And so when you do that, don't shake. Depending on your circumstances, you may be able to actually get a green card in that process. For some people, that is their best way and only option of becoming green card holders. I'll give you an example. If you've been living in the United States, you know you've overstayed your visa, you've been living here for over 10 years, you've had your children, some of them are US citizens, and they're under 21. And you don't even know how you're going to get your green card. For some of my clients, their biggest fear is, oh, I don't want immigration to get me. I'm like, let them get you, because that's even good for you. That's probably the only way you're going to get your green card. Because what happens is if they arrest you or they detain you, they put you in a process known as removal proceeding, which is deportation. When you are in that process, there is a relief that is called cancellation of removal for non-permanent residents. In which case the judge, the immigration judge, who is the only person that
refer you to a specialist. Same way with mental health. If you're just having a bad day, you can talk to your spouse or to your friends or someone that's right there. But if that feeling of depression persists daily and you feel like you cannot get up every day, then it might be time to talk to maybe your pastor, or it might be time to go to therapy. So it depends on the severity of the issue. And lastly, most people don't get mental health because they can't afford it. But there's insurance, and also like social workers are there to help people. So they'll like sympathize with you and maybe give you a sliding scale, so you're not paying as much as they would normally charge. There are also free resources that you can use. You can call a hotline, or you can go to like a free self-care group, and that can help easily.
A lot of jobs, they have what's called the employee assistant program, and they'll give you like 3 free sessions.
Yeah, my job is.
In school, we get 12 free sessions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they know. So with that being said, I guess focusing on women and managing our many roles while taking care of ourselves. So most of us are mothers, wives, we have jobs, and so we do it all. We take care of our families, we have children, not our children, but we, like, y'all have children if you do, and it's our first thought is to give ourselves for everybody else. We're being pulled left, right, center. We want to please everybody, and that's not possible. But then again, we feel guilty because we cannot help everybody. And so we do even more because we feel guilty, and that makes it worse. So it's like we want to be this superhuman, but we're not created to be like superhuman beings. Especially like black women, they talk about the strong black woman, and nobody gives us the space to feel down or to feel weak, and so we feel like we have to match up to society's expectations of us, and so we set unrealistic expectations for ourselves that set us up for failure. And so this leads to burnout. You get angry, you feel animosity to the people that you're supposed to be helping, and this could even expedite like a weak mental health. So just some practical tips. The first thing I put was you cannot pour from an empty cup. So if you're supposed to be giving love to people and you're giving, and you're not giving it to yourself, and no one is giving it back to you, at some point you're pouring out, and it's empty. You have nothing else to give. So for instance, like you go home after a long day, but before you go home, you went to the spa and you got a massage and you feel good, and so you come home and you're happy. Like the mood of the house changes because people feel like, oh, mom is happy, my wife is happy, so I can go to her and talk to her about like what's going on in my life. But if you come home and you're slamming the door and you're yelling at people, like everybody's on edge, like what is going on? So because you don't have peace in you, you cannot give peace to the people around you. So again, make sure that you're taking care of yourself. It's not selfish to put yourself first. So just like with our electronics, we need to charge it to make sure that it can work for us. We need to make sure that we're recharged, and we need to make sure that we're recuperating. So again, like I said, it's not selfish to do things for yourself. The more that you do for yourself, the more that you can do for other people. When you're not at your best, you're not able to give your best, but when you're at your best, you can give your best. So in fact, it's selfless to put yourself first, because once you're good, then everybody else is good. Have any questions? So tips, learn how to communicate your feelings. No one is a mind reader. I feel like sometimes we're angry because we feel like they should just know to clean the house, they should just know to buy me flowers, they should just know. But have you ever told them what you like? Have you ever told them how to treat you? So you have to teach people how to treat you. And instead of waiting for others to even treat you, treat yourself first. And through the way that you treat yourself, through the way that you respect yourself, and through the way that you carry yourself, people know how to treat you. So I said no one is a mind reader, and sometimes we say, but I did communicate, I did tell them to clean the dishes, I did tell them to do this and do that. But it's like, how are you saying it? Are you saying it in a nice way, or are you yelling it? So I know for me, if my mom calls me and she's yelling at me, the phone should be here, but the phone is here because she's yelling. So I'm not listening to what she's saying. So she's telling me what to do, but because of the way she's saying it, I'm not paying attention to it. So for some of us, we shut down when people yell at us. And even in, I think Proverbs says, a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So it's how are you communicating your needs? How are you communicating your feelings? If it is difficult for you to articulate your feelings verbally, just write them down and send it in an email or something, and that can be effective. So yeah, just communication about how you feel, that could help ease like the anxiety or the depression. It can help take the weight off.